Come on, Kenny.
Good morning and welcome to the Break Room by Blue Collar Media Group. I want to thank all of you for tuning in here today. This is the first episode of the Break Room. We're incredibly excited to launch this new weekly episode. They'll be dropping Sunday mornings moving forward, but for the first one, we'll be dropping on Monday. I'm your host of the proceedings, Kenneth, and I'm joined here today by the other partners of the Blue Collar Media Group. That's Steve Reisner and Just Paul. How you guys doing today?
Excellent. I got my broom here. I've been sweeping stuff up all day.
Did you have some Sixers on your floor?
Yeah. And they were trusting the process, and it didn't work for them. Unless the process was canceling your practice yesterday so you could pack your bags faster.
That's awesome. We're going to get into that Celtic sweep right away here, but we want to start off by thanking some of our phenomenal sponsors of the Blue Collar Media Group: Porteo Group, Thrive Fantasy, Aquamarine Diving, Cigar Life, and Love Eco. We're going to have all the links to their episodes below, to their websites below. That's what I meant. So be sure to go and check those out. We're incredibly excited to be partnered with all those companies, and we're going to get right into things by talking about the NBA playoffs and then touching on some NHL as well as fantasy football. But we'll start in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. We've seen no really close series as of now. Only one team has actually dropped a game that was favored. But we'll start with that team, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. They're up 2-1 against Orlando. Do you guys give the Orlando even a chance of winning another game this series?
No, I don't.
No, I mean, I'm gonna say that I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't bet for sure. No, I just think that they got their one win. They were at home, whatever, the inside the bubble home, and it's just, the Bucks will be too much for them.
Yeah, like since that game one loss, they've kind of blown them out the last couple of games. So I don't see this being a really close series over these last couple of games for sure. Then we've got the Toronto Raptors. They're currently up 3-0 as we're recording right now, and they're also up 9 points in the second quarter. I think we all see them closing this series out tonight as well. Brooklyn's pretty hobbled, right?
Yeah, I don't see Brooklyn winning this one. I respect Brooklyn. Showing some fight, not having all their guys, their two schizophrenic guys there on their team, not having them. They still showed some heart, but they're not beating Toronto.
No, and I think Toronto's really impressed a lot of people. Nick Nurse was announced as a coach of the year yesterday. Paul, did you agree with that? Nick getting the nod?
Absolutely. What he's done up there, the culture they've built up there. I mean, to lose a superstar like Kawhi and really be back in the hunt, and just the team basketball they're playing up there is absolutely amazing. Moving the ball around. They don't really have a superstar, but they got a bunch of guys that are going to go out there and, lay it all on the line every night. So that's coaching.
Definitely, for sure. And then we've got Steve's Celtics. I know that Steve has his broom, obviously, because they did clean sweep Philly. Steve, what went right for Boston and what went wrong for Philly?
Well, what went wrong for Philly was just about everything that could have gone wrong. Embiid did whatever he wanted. Dude was putting up all the points. Didn't matter because, end of the fourth quarter was actually, I loved the move that Stevens would do is you let Embiid do what he wants all game. And then the fourth quarter, he stuck Kanter's big body right on top of him and wore him out. And Jason Tatum, man, I can't say enough about this kid. If you saw me tweet earlier, I'm having a hard time remembering the last time we saw a Celtics player dominate a playoff series on their own like that.
Yeah, Tatum was phenomenal in that series for sure. Paul, what do you think Philly's got to do moving forward?
I mean, they have to decide. I mean, are they going to keep this experiment together, or is one of them going packing? Because, like Steve said, and everybody saw, I mean, Embiid put up all the points, and nobody was helping him. So I don't know if that means Tobias Harris goes, if that means Ben Simmons goes. but the coach definitely. It's time for the coach to go. So are they going to keep trusting the process? Well, the process we thought was complete 3 years ago. So I don't really know.
Yeah, what is the process?
Right. I don't know where that process is.
And what part and Matisse Tybalt, what part of the process was here? Markel Fultz, whoever they took in front of Tatum.
Oh, Fultz, yeah. And then
Fultz. Sorry. I said the name wrong. What part of the process was that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're Philly, I don't think you blow it up yet. I think you got to go and find a new coach, see if it works for a year, and if it still doesn't, then yeah, you got to dump one of those guys moving forward. And then
I'd definitely start with moving the coach. Don't blow up the players. Yeah. You got to. Because Brett Brown kind of looks like an idiot.
That's because
he So try not hiring an idiot and see if that works.
Yeah.
Your best plan going into the bubble was Shake Milton. That was his plan. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that kid. I do. I watched him a lot. I like that kid. But I mean, come on, man. You got two superstars. They got to be the engine.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got the Heat. They're up 3-0 against the Pacers. I don't think anyone really saw this one being the way that it is. I think the Heat have been the most impressive team in the bubble. Do you see the Pacers winning Game 4, or do you think that they're going to sweep them, Paul?
Man, at this point, I think that they sweep them. They've just totally dominated this series. I don't know. I don't know how Indiana. I mean, I guess they could gentlemen sweep them. Sneak one in there. Maybe the Heat take it off. But they're a young team. I think they're hungry, and they know that they're inside this bubble. They're good. So I can see them sweeping them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the loss of Sabonis was pretty big for Indiana in this series. Do you think that this series could have gone a little bit differently, Steve, had they had Sabonis?
Yeah, absolutely. I can see the Pacers maybe winning 1 or 2 games there if they had Sabonis. But again, the Heat are just playing better basketball than I thought they would be playing. And if they're playing like this, I still don't think the Pacers would have beaten them with Sabonis.
Yeah, I mean, in that Game 3 win, Miami had 4 players score over 20 points. So it goes to show that it's not just Bam and Butler. There's a lot of guys there for them. But I think we all see the favorites obviously moving on to the next round, and then we'll see where the East shapes up after that. Then we'll head out west. We've got the LA Lakers are up 2-1 on Portland. I think a lot of Lakers fans were panicking after losing Game 1, but
were you?
I was not one of them. When you win 2 straight after that, do I think Portland will probably win one more game in the series? Yeah, but I think that this is a 6-gamer. You guys give Portland a shot at winning this series?
No, I hate to say no, but I can't give it to them. Again, hats off to Portland. They played hard. Hats off to Carmelo Anthony, who's played some great basketball so far in the series. But Dame Lillard needs a better sidekick than C.J. McCollum.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when LeBron plays like LeBron played last night, there's that Portland doesn't have enough.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a LeBron fan at all, but sometimes, man, that guy gets that look in his eye, and sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree there. I just think LeBron's got another gear, and he showed it last night. He was incredible for them. Even when Davis was struggling, there was a point in the second quarter where he only had 2 points, and it still didn't matter because LeBron just took over. Then we've got the Clippers and Mavs, which after today's game, I'm a little unsure of where this series is going to go. We saw Luka put up 43, 17, and 13 despite no Porzingis to win an overtime game. Steve, I'll start with you. Do you think the Clippers are going to be able to hold on to win this series?
I don't know. I don't know. This is one of those series that every game, I think, even looking at the lines before the game, they've all been up in the air to me. Dallas is playing great. I don't want to take Dallas to beat the Clippers all these times, but I mean, I didn't think Paul George was going to play that bad, that many games in a row. I didn't think I love Luka Doncic. I didn't think he was going to come and show out like this for his playoff debut.
I thought the
That's
Clippers
fucking ridiculous.
The Clippers defense I thought was going to be a way bigger factor. I mean, the fact that George only had 9 points today, he was 3 of 14 shooting, and then you've got Montrezl Harrell who only had 2 points the entire game. I mean, that's just things that can't happen when you've got a six-man candidate and a supposed second superstar. Paul, what do you think needs to happen for the Clippers? Is it all on Paul George at this point? Because Kawhi seems like he's playing really well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Paul George needs to be playing better, but they need to start running their offense.
Yeah.
Like this ISO ball, whatever they're running. I mean, the other day they had 16 assists and 15 turnovers. Not going to cut it. That's not going to beat these upper level West teams. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it's not beating the Mavs. And the thing that keeps surprising me is they are not locking down defensively. I honestly thought we'd be seeing them holding teams to 90, 95, mid-90s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would just be enough to figure out the offense and get through. Well, that's not happening. So they need to go back to their roots. They need to go back and start locking people down and maybe feed the offense through their defense.
Yeah, and I mean, like, they gave up 135 today, 122 before that, and 127 the game before that. Like, they're not locking in defensively at all, so I think it does fall on the defense for sure. Then we've got the Nuggets, who are down 2-1 to the Jazz. I don't think a lot of people saw this happening, especially once Bogdanovich had surgery. He was the second leading scorer for Utah this year. I see this one as a 7-gamer still. I think Denver's gonna bounce back. They have a ton of depth there. Where do you guys see this series going?
I'd
Go
probably say 6-7 games. Like Kenny said, I still think Denver wins whatever.
I don't like the Nuggets. I haven't liked the Nuggets.
Oh no, yeah, I mean Utah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm high.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the Nuggets, I thought that the Nuggets would. I thought Jamal Murray, like after that game one, he hasn't been anything great. Michael Porter Jr. hasn't been special. Jokic, I still don't believe he can be your best player if you're gonna make a run in the playoffs.
No.
I think they need to find another guy, but especially when he's a distribute first center, he doesn't.
I was just gonna say he's weird. Like it's great that your center can pass like that, but at a certain point, if your center is your superstar, don't you want him like down low,
like Embiid, bullying people?
Yeah, like use your size, push a guy around. You know, that's what I look for out of it, man. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And then to cap things off, we've got OKC and the Rockets. They took Game 3 over the Rockets with Harden fouling out in overtime. Do you think that this could be a sign that Harden needs Westbrook back?
Not this series.
Not this series, but he does need Westbrook back.
Yeah.
I mean, that team is hats off to those guys. They've played good without Westbrook, but you're gonna need more firepower than just James Harden when you get later in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at their stat lines last night, the fact he had Jeff Green gave him 22, Eric Gordon gave him 21, Tucker with 11, McLemore with 14. Those are all guys that are going to be super inconsistent. So he's definitely going to need that second player, I think, moving forward in the playoffs. But I still think the Rockets are going to take this one, probably 6, maybe 7 games. But it'll be interesting to see with that one. Now we're going to flip over to talk about some NHL. This is Paul's realm. Even though I'm the Canadian, oddly enough, it's Paul that is the hockey expert. So I'm just going to go quickly through the list of the 4 series that we have left. Starting with the Bruins and Lightning, I think that this is the opportunity to be the best series out of the 4. Paul, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, totally agree. The Lightning have a lot of trouble with physical teams, and that's what the Bruins are. But I don't know how this whole goalie thing is going to play out with the Bruins after that first series. You know, you kind of get a little momentum switch when he comes in there, and then now you sat, and you're playing an extremely skilled and deep Tampa team. I picked Tampa to win the cup, so I'm going to take Tampa in this series.
Steve, that you are the resident Boston fan, are you going Bruins to take this series?
Yeah.
I'd like them to, but being on Halak, who's played great, I can't really predict them to go that far. And so I have to say, these people who are defending Tuukka Rask for going golfing after he left the bubble, no.
That's a bad look. It's a bad look for sure.
And find a golf course like that you're not going to get recognized at.
No kidding. Yeah, I would lean Lightning in 7. I still think it's going to be a great series. I would have taken Boston had they had Rask, but I just think that goaltending, Vasilevsky's a great goalie too for them. Then we've got Flyers and Islanders. I don't think a lot of people saw the Islanders handling the Capitals the way that they did. But they really whooped them something fierce. So, Paul, where would you be leaning in this series?
I hate picking against the Islanders. They got that just very pesky system that they run, and it's tough to say. I mean, Philly's been struggling to score, but Carter Hart has just been absolutely lights out for them in net. And come playoff time, it's all about the goalies for me. So I'm going to lean Philly in this one. But again, this could be a 7-gamer too, just because they can frustrate Philly. And when Philly gets frustrated, they take dumb penalties, and the Islanders can capitalize on it for sure.
They definitely can. Steve, I know that you're not a big fan of Philadelphia sports. So where are you going with this one?
I'm just going to pick against Philly because I don't like Philly.
I kind of figured that'd be the way that you would go. I don't love Philly sports either, but I'm going to take the Flyers in this one. Carter Hart with a 1.71 goals against average. He's been huge for them. I like Konechny and Couturier to have a good series for them. They had a good year for Philly overall, so I'm going to lean the Flyers on that one. Then we're going to flip over to the West, where we've got the Dallas Stars, who last night won 5-3, so they're up 1-0 against the Avs. Paul, what are your thoughts on this one? When I first saw it on paper, I thought it was just going to be a high-scoring series.
I hated the Dallas Stars all year. I took Calgary last series. I love the Avs though. They were my second pick to come out of the West. I really thought a Canadian team would come out of there this year, but it didn't. But I think the Avs are one of the fastest high-scoring teams in this league, but they got to get it together on the defensive end. They can't be giving up 5 goals and expecting to win. So Dallas up 1-0. I still like the Avs, though.
Yeah. Steve, where would you be leaning on that one, Dallas versus Colorado?
I'm going to go with what Paul said because I don't know much hockey.
you're just going with right. The hockey expert, eh? I'm also going to go with
that. I gamble on hockey anyway.
I think the Avs are going to take it in 7. Like Radulov and Sagan had a great game 1 for them. While I think the series is going to be high scoring, I really like Nathan McKinnon. I think he's had a great year, and I think Colorado, they've got the better goalie as well. And I'm like Paul, I always lean goaltending when it comes to playoff series. So I'm going to go with the Avs there. And then lastly, we've got the Vancouver Canucks. That's Jet Folks' team. In the Blue Collar Media Group, and they're going up against the Vegas Golden Knights. Do you guys give Vegas the heavy favorite in this one?
No, I don't make them heavy favorites.
No.
This bubble is really helping Vancouver because that nervous, young, on-the-road, hostile crowd stuff is gone. So, I mean, they just sent the champs packing. So when you send the champs packing, I'm not going to say, Vegas is just going to roll over you. Vegas is definitely the more talented team, definitely the better defensive team, and definitely got the better goalie. But Bo Horvath is ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I really like Vancouver. I just think that Vegas, I like their experience more. Pettersson and Hughes and Miller, like they've had great playoffs so far for Vancouver. I just think that Vegas is going to take it. Steve, are you just going to roll with us on Vegas or?
Yeah, basically.
I love the input that you gave during that hockey segment, Steve. It was great. I look forward to your future hockey analysis moving forward. So now,
hey, I'm the only one here related to professional hockey players. So
yeah.
That's true. That obviously translates over to hockey knowledge. I forgot that.
Yeah.
So to cap things off, we're going to flip over to fantasy football because we're just a couple weeks away now from the NFL starting up. It's
10
pretty
days.
crazy that we're
It's weird.
close.
Super
So
weird.
we're going to give our top 10 lists as far as quarterbacks and tight ends go. I think that this will be a fun segment for us we might differ a little bit. Like obviously Steve will probably have Tom Brady at number 1, but we're going to have to temper his expectations here. So Steve,
I'm Brady.
start it off. Who is your number 1 fantasy quarterback this year?
Cam Newton. No. No, my number 1 face, I got to go Patrick Mahomes. I'd put Lamar Jackson over him, but I just trust what Mahomes does more than I trust what Lamar does.
For sure. Paul, where would you be leaning at 1?
Totally agree.
Totally
Pat
agree
Mahomes.
with Mahomes. I'm on board with Mahomes as well. I would not be shocked if he's over 5,000 yards, over 40 TDs again. He's just been special at the quarterback position. Are we all going Lamar at number 2?
Yeah.
I like Lamar too. I'm just saying that I don't think his rushing is going to be what it's been. It cannot continue to do that. And
no, it's going to get figured out.
I worry about, do they have enough receiving threats to make him number 2?
That's fair for sure. Yeah, I think his rushing yards will go down a bit. Maybe his passing yards go up to kind of even it out, but it'll be interesting to see with that offense. They are going to be very run heavy, especially when they drafted Dobbins. Who have you guys got at number 3? I think this is where we could start to differ a little bit. Steve, I'll start with you.
Number 3, this is where it gets pretty tough for me because I like Russell Wilson as the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't know if Russell Wilson will have the 3rd most fantasy points because I don't know if they have the receiving core there for him to do that. And because Pete Carroll's insist on running the ball ever since
he
got
not
criticized
Russ,
for not running. I'd probably put Brady up there. I think that receiving core is going to be fucking.
Wow, Tom at 3.
It's really high, but I'm trying to think now.
There's no Patriot bias there, hey? Paul, where would you go at 3?
Oh, definitely Russ. I like Russ. I just feel like, yeah, he doesn't have a receiver. Well, I mean, I like DK, so, but I mean, he really hasn't had a receiving core since he's been there, and he's put up monster numbers. So
he had Doug Baldwin as his number 1 receiver for years, and he still found a way to be productive. I've got Russ at 3. I think the problem is I never get an opportunity to draft Russ because I don't want to draft a quarterback in like round 3 or 4, and that's kind of where Russ will go, I would assume. So
I just don't trust the play calling to give to put Russ up that high. That's my only thing there. At 4, I put Russ.
Okay.
I just, like I said, I don't trust the play calling from Pete Carroll because he insists on being a power running team.
Paul, where would you lean at number 4?
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun? Okay. Here comes my bias because I throw Dak at 4.
No, and that's fine. I have Dak at 5. So,
I just think Dak has so many weapons. Like,
yeah, he better.
If he's not in the top 5 fantasy QBs, then he's probably going to be packing his bags to head to another team next season. So,
right. But Deshaun, I'm worried about the weapons around him. But again, he's like Russ. I feel like he's going to get his no matter who's there.
Yeah, that's fair. Steve, who's your number 5? We know that Paul has Dak there. Who have you got at 5?
I was actually going to go Dak the same as you, Kenny, just because the amount of weapons that Dak has. Again, he's a great player, for one. He's in a Mike McCarthy offense that is going to be very pass-heavy until he wants to run it with Randall Cobb a lot for some reason. But, yeah, I think Dak's going to have a great year with those 3 receivers that you guys now have.
So I don't have Deshaun yet. I've got Kyler at 5. I think Kyler Murray with his offense, I think they're going to be very pass heavy with Hopkins and Kirk and Fitz. And I just think that he's going to be he's going to have value too, also with the rushing aspect to his game. Like, not that he's going to have anything crazy. Like, he's not a Lamar rushing QB, but he'll give you like a 20, 30 yards a game probably on top of it, which will be nice in fantasies. So I would go Kyler there. Who's your number 6?
That's who I have, is Kyler, just because of the Andre Hopkins addition. He was already putting up, almost 4,000 last year, right? Like 3,800, something like that. I mean, he'll probably do 45, 4,600 this year, 35-ish touchdowns, and then, you're going to get a couple rushing scores out of him too. So that's where I got him at. I just worried about this offseason. I mean, and DeAndre getting used to Kingsbury stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think he's so talented that he'll figure it out and he'll pick it up pretty quickly. Steve, who would be your number 6?
Number 6, I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson. That receiving core is weird because it's that weird receiving core that I don't know if we'll ever have all of them on the field at the same time. That's what I'm wondering about with that receiving core. But I like Deshaun Watson.
I'm going to go Drew Brees at number 6. I think he's got the best fantasy wide receiver in Michael Thomas. They added Sanders. And then he's still got guys like Cook, Kamara, Murray. Like, he's got a lot of weapons. I just think Drew's like a safe draft. Like, if you have Drew Brees at QB, you're never really that concerned about having him as your quarterback. Who would you guys have at number 7?
I have Aaron Rodgers at 7. I just feel like him and the coach are butting heads. He's going to want to show out. And, I feel like if that money wasn't so much, he would be out of Green Bay after this year. So I feel like he's going to put on a show. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to do what he normally does. He's not going to turn it over to get you negative points. He's going to throw over 30 touchdowns, and he's going to have, 3,800, 4,000 yards passing. So,
yeah, he's another safe draft. Steve, who would you have at 7?
I actually go Drew Brees there. Just like you said, Kenny, he's a safe draft. Every year except last year, he was a safe draft for me.
Yeah. I've got Deshaun at 7, mostly because his wide receiving core is like the all IR team, with Will Fuller and Cooks and Stills and Cobb. Like, they can never stay healthy. I mean, if they do, I think Deshaun could be top 5 very easily. And I think he's a talent, a top 5 talent. Just, it'll be all dependent on his weapons. Who you guys got at number 8?
This is where I have Drew Brees, just the safe guy. Like, you can get him late in the round. You could probably pair him up with Michael Thomas if you can get Thomas early and, have a good stack there. And he's just going to perform how he always performs. But I think Kamara comes back big this year out of the backfield and catches maybe a little bit more big plays from him out of the backfield, gives you even more points.
Steve, where are you going at 8?
I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. You guys hit on all the points about him earlier. And again, Cliff Kingsbury loves this kid, so he will find a way to make it work for him.
Yeah. I got Matt Ryan at 8. I just think he has a ton of weapons. He'll throw it to Julio for like 1,500 yards and Ridley for 1,000. And I just think he's a safe pick. They also might not, like, they've Todd Gurley there, but he probably won't last the full season, so they'll be pretty pass heavy. So I would go Ryan there. Who have you guys got at 9 and 10?
Well, 9, that's where I got Rodgers. Rodgers had a pretty good year last year, quietly good year, I thought. But I don't know. Something about his attitude this year. He, like you said, Paul, he might go off because of that attitude. Or he might not show up. So I don't know. But he's usually a pretty safe pick. At 10, I hope I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield.
Ooh,
just because of the weapons.
Yeah.
And if he's not one of the top fantasy quarterbacks with his weapons this year, then he is not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
If he can't put up yards with that crew, and yards and points with that crew, then he just can't do it.
For sure. Paul, who's your 9 and 10?
Well, when you get down into here, I think that it's more about the supporting cast. So I have Matt Ryan, and then I have Tom Brady, and I have Baker all right in there because, I mean, they all have top 5 wide receivers. I mean, they should all put up points. So once you get down in here, when we're talking about these guys will probably be available in rounds 11 through 13, somewhere down there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 1,000-yard receivers and, piece together the rest of it.
That's fair. At number 9, I'm going to go Josh Allen, mostly because I just like pissing off Steve with saying Josh Allen's name.
See, I was going to say Josh Allen at 10, but then I didn't want Christian Roth to find this recording.
Yeah, the rushing element to him's big.
Yeah.
He finally is a true number 1 receiver in Stephon Diggs, although I do like John Brown. I thought he was great last year, so I think he's just got a solid offense now. And then I'll go Rodgers at 10. It's basically just going to be Devontae Adams and then whatever wide receiver decides that they want to catch the ball that week. So that would be my top 10. And then we're going to cap things off. We're going to do a quick rapid fire of our top 10 tight ends. No explanations, just who have you got at that spot, and then we can ooh and ah at whatever people say. So I'll start us off with my number 1, Kelsey.
Yeah, obviously Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey.
And number 2, I got Kittle.
Yep.
Wow, coincidence. I have Kittle
Coincidence.
as well.
Weird that's our top 2.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Number 3, Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Yes,
Same
thing.
Number 4, Darren Waller.
No, I think he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a down year. I got. Hold on. Good, Steve.
I'm going to go a Waller as well, actually.
Okay.
I think I got. Oh my God, where is it at on my phone here? Well, I got 3 different screens up. Is my thing. What the hell did I have?
Oh, I'm just making these all up as I go.
No, I had 3 up. No, I actually like Hunter Henry to have a big year this year too.
Okay.
In that new offense.
Number 5, I got Ertz. I don't love it, but I think.
See,
Ertz
now
just seems
I
good.
have Dallas Goedert before I have Ertz this year.
Okay.
I have Evan Ingram.
Okay. Steve, you're 5.
At 5, that's where I have Evan Ingram. I'd have him higher, but the injury question marks you have to look at.
Number 6, I've got Evan Ingram.
I got Austin Hooper there.
Yeah, I got Hooper there.
Okay. 7, I've got Gronk.
That's where I got Gronk too.
That's where I got Gronk.
Okay. Henry at 8.
I got Tyler Higbee at 8.
Higbee at 8. Okay.
See, again, this is where it starts to get
This is sketchy
Get a little-
territory when you're drafting.
Yeah.
yeah, this is sketchy territory when you're drafting, and I don't know, Hunter Henry just, man, when he's out there,
He's so good when he's out there.
he's so good. But
Number
he's
9,
not out
got
there.
Hooper.
This is where I have Waller.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Hawkinson.
Hawkinson. Okay.
Mhm.
And my number 10 is Fant.
I'm high on Noah Fant this year. If I don't get one of those top 2 guys, I'm just waiting and taking him.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see if the tight end list like dwindles, and then if it's getting even close, then I'll draft him or Hooper like instantly.
Yep.
And Steve, who's your 10?
10, I'm gonna go with Fant as well.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you all for tuning in to the first episode of The Break Room. If you want us to talk about a segment, be sure to hit us up on Twitter at BlueCollarMG. And thank you guys for coming on the show today, and we'll see you guys next week.